And welcome back. We're good to see you here, and I hope you did enjoy yourselves as the sessions went by. In your interactive sessions that you had in the various breakout rooms, and thanks to all the student leaders that facilitated the session. But I'm not the one to thank them, and I'm not the one to, well, even though I appreciate the incredible work that has been done by all the facilitators, uh, give it to my colleague, Prof. Keshi, to pass her gratitude and close officially the session for us. Prof. Keshi.
Yeah, no, thanks. See, I got to move around to a few of the breakaway rooms, which was quite interesting to hear the conversations that were happening, to hear the feedback, also validating to hear some of the issues that were coming up, being some of what I had taken in my own notes. I think for me, what's most powerful about the engagement we've had and the tools we're being given is how we move beyond, first of all, a situation just of trying to blame somebody for the problem. Going back to the elephant story, Sami gave us the laptop story, this idea of perspective and why that matters, because you begin to see that these things are complex. Power is not singular. In the sense of who has power in these situations, but also therefore the solutions. And I think one of you said, the problems are messy, so it's unlikely that a perfect, clean solution is what's going to be required and is going to be adequate. I picked up also the point about people saying that. The plans, this idea of perfect policies or perfect plans that don't get implemented or that don't resolve things. As a planner, I like to confidently say that it's not a perfect plan or a perfect policy if it really doesn't achieve what it's meant to within that context. And often that's got to do with the complexity of the system, the complex adaptive systems that Sami was speaking of. So I just want to give thanks again, I think, to Sami's preparation and his just thinking about how to help us think those three tools he walked us through. Thank you very much to the students, and I'm looking forward to hearing your own stories and journeys in this next session. And I just hope for the participants there was some value, I think, in moving beyond the listening and sitting role to the more active issue of how are you thinking through it and how can you use some tools to help you. So yeah, no, thank you indeed.
Thank you, Prof. Keshi. We're looking forward to hosting you again next year, same place, hopefully. And thank you for the great work.
New problems, we hope, by
New
next year.
problems, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, in 2005, Archbishop Desmond Tutu walked into a stage in the Rose Hill campus in the New York, that's a Fordham University, to get an honorary doctorate for his incredible contribution to South Africa and humanity. As he was about to get or receive his honorary doctorate, he made a joke. He said, "I can only accept this honorary doctorate only if you do something for my community." And that's meant for his country. Everyone laughed, but you know how he said things jokingly. The following year, the University of Fordham or Fordham University in New York sent a delegation down to South Africa to look at what they can do for South Africa, to look at what way they could contribute to the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu's wish. They visited almost all universities in South Africa, and they landed at the soft welcome of the University of Pretoria. That's where they forged a working relationship, and a program called Emerging Market and Country Risk Analysis was born. This started around 2008 with a delegation leaving South Africa to New York, and with the delegation after leaving New York to South Africa as an exchange program with an aim of cultural exchange, but most importantly, getting a certificate in emerging, advanced certificate in emerging markets. After it went for some time, COVID came in and it stopped. Nothing happened between 2020 and 2021. At least in 2021, it was online and they interacted online. For the very first time after COVID, we saw students, myself included, I was very fortunate to join the cohort, flying down to New York at all expenses paid for a full 6 weeks program on emerging markets. Some of the courses they took included strategic finance and as well as political risk analysis and economics in emerging markets. So as they came through to New York, coming back here, and now they are back and they want to share their lessons with us. I have with me here in the panel some of the students that joined the program, and I want to invite them on stage to share their experiences and really tell us how can we participate in these programs and what benefits could they get or did they get from such a program. I'm so looking forward to hearing from them. Let me welcome them on stage. I could see Yuvana. Hi, Yuvana.
Hi, Lucy. How are you?
Yuvana, you're muted. I'm struggling to hear you.
Um,
All right, let's try
can you
Dumi.
hear me now?
Hello, Husi. How are you?
Thank you so much for asking, man. I can hear you loud and clear. Yuvana, hi.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Crystal clear. Thank you, Yuvana. Hi, Mbegazeli. All right, let's go to Paul. Paul, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Gusi? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for asking. Sir, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good, thanks.
Good, thanks. And let's go to Sipesihle. Sipesihle, hello.
Hi, Lucy. How are you?
I'm doing very well. That's so kind of you for asking,
Lucy,
Sipesihle.
how are
Thank you
you?
for joining us.
Thank you.
Is that Mbegazeli? All right. So, so I'll start with you, Yuvana. I want you to quickly tell us about what the program entails.
Hi. Yes,
Oh,
hi, Lucy.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Hello, hi,
Hello?
Yuvana.
Yes, sorry. Basically, the Fordham program is an exchange program where we had the privilege of having discussions with the world's leading institutions such as Goldman Sachs, Bloomberg, and NASDAQ. We also met the mayor of New York. At these institutions, we were able to have various discussions with them where they explained to us their various business processes that made these firms successful. And it was very interactive and engaging. They allowed us to ask questions. And the academic part of it was, like you said, we did emerging markets where we learned that the best investment places in the world are actually emerging markets. So it was very interesting. Yes, that's the program.
Thank you so much, Yuvana, for that contribution. And maybe moving to you, Paul. You, obviously, Yuvana has told us a little bit of what the trip entailed, but what do you think South Africa can do, or South Africans can learn from a trip like this?
I think the key takeaway that South Africans can learn from this is the essence of collaboration that we can get and the gains from collaboration, especially between us as South Africans and I feel like the cultural ethos of Ubuntu that we have, and also how much we can learn from different cultures and communities and business groups and governmental, private and public, um, between South Africa and US and all over the world. There's some real gains and some strong pride to make, and it forces us to think beyond our own opinion, see yourself as a global citizen, and how you can bring that in to improve the country and the
Mm.
situation where you come from.
Thank you, Paul. But by the way, I should mention that the program does not only take students, it looks at students, also professionals from various institutions. I went from the National Treasury, and Sipesihle here came from the Cyril Ramaphosa Foundation to be part of the program. How did you end up in the student exchange program, Sipesihle? Please tell us briefly about the path you took to be part of the program.
I had expressed my interest in traveling abroad for studying, and I found out that there was an alumni that had actually been to the program, and she told me more about the program, and I got interested and I applied. And after a series of interviews, I was chosen to also go to New York with the Fordham delegate.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And Boitumelo, um, from what Sipesitle spoke about and all the colleagues spoke about, do you think programs like this should be started across South Africa and elsewhere?
Yes, I do believe they should be started because it's an eye opener. Many students and people in general in South Africa grew up thinking that education here is the only option. And with the high unemployment rate, people don't really understand that there is so much out there in the world. So this program exposes to so much, whether you're a student or working class. It just opens your eyes and it's beneficial because people come back to the country and plant into the country and it helps out so many people. The program doesn't just end, the participant lives on. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. But by the way, I should say that I have asked him to sing for us, but he's not feeling well. One of the benefits I think the program that does is not only looking at education, but the cultural exchange. And Boitumelo, as a singer, professional singer at that, had a chance to interact with some of the artists from the Lion King. I understand some of the biggest Nigerians stars were also there. They also got a chance to share ideas and interact. So those are some of the benefits that came as a result of Boitumelo going out there to interact. And we'll talk about that a little bit later if we do have time. And I want to cross over to Mbegezeli. I'm not sure if Mbegezeli is still able to join us. Mbegezeli?
Hi, Vusi. Can you hear me?
A bit of intonation from your end, but let's try and see how far we can go. Mbegezeli,
Hi,
just tell us a
Vusi.
bit. Yes, can you hear me?
Vusi, can you hear
Oh,
me?
there's a lag. All right, let's give it one more shot. Mbegezeli, hi.
Yeah, a huge one. Hi, Vusi.
Sure. Mbegezeli, what do you think are the long-term effects of such a program?
I think they're both personal and academical long run effects, or rather positive impact that one can. So, personally, I will start with the personal one. So, having been in this program, I had, as you said, that it's different people, students and working professionals. It doesn't mean that you stop working completely, but you still need to study, or rather carry on with your studies back at home. For me personally, it has built resilience and that I believe it's something that nobody can really take away from me now that I have acquired such resilience to be able to pursue the program, or rather studies in New York, while or of course studying for my exams at the time. And also the other soft skills such as being able to speak also in public, where we got opportunities to go to Goldman Sachs. We found ourselves in boardrooms, big boardrooms, being able to interact with other professionals. Such soft skills as public speaking, such as being able to project your voice. Those, I believe that they are personal long run effects. And also academically, I believe that now when I put up my CV, it will really, I will be able to stand against many and be able to win. So in a sense that they have seen that I've been to such, or rather engaged in such a program, and now the program has opened doors for me to be able to go study abroad, further my studies abroad, be it my masters or anything that I want to do. And also, yeah, but the most I think is resilience, and also opening other opportunities for one being able to study abroad.
And talking about studying abroad in Mbegezeli, I understand once you do a program, it sort of gives you 3 credits to a master's program in Fordham. How does that work about, just briefly?
Oh well, yes. So basically, instead of me going to Fordham and should I want to pursue iPad, a program called iPad at Fordham, or economics generally, now I don't have to study all 12 modules, but I can simply study 9 modules since I have completed the three, which puts me at an advantage. That means I can complete my masters in a shorter spirit of in a short space of time, as compared to if I did not participate in the Fordham exchange program.
Excellent. Thank you so much, because there was a question by from Zama asking about the name of the program, and I think if you look in the chat, Paul Reeds has responded to that question. And talking about the personal gains that Mbegezeli had, Sipesihle, is there anything that you think personally you've gained in the program and you would be able to use for your advancement?
Definitely, a higher degree of self awareness is what I have gained, especially being out of my comfort zone, also being tolerant to other people's cultural values and customs. I think that will allow me to go a long way and be able to meet more people and get along with more people in the future that are. That are potentially different from me or come from different backgrounds as to myself.
Thank you, Spesihle. And Yuvana, I hope you're still there. By the way, Yuvana is also a student at the University of Pretoria alongside Boitumelo Mbegazeli and Paul. And Yuvana, uh, what do you think you can bring back to South Africa from being in such a program?
Thank you, Vusi. Well, I would say that I definitely want to encourage institutions in South Africa to bring a more practical aspect into our studies, as it makes you a lot more valuable and competitive in the workplace. That's an advantage that I saw there in New York, where people kind of got into the workplace and they knew firsthand what to do and had practical experience, which just sets you above everybody else.
Oh,
So
that's great. That's great. All right. Thank you, Giovanna. And a larger part of the program entailed classroom education, which is sort of a normal way of how we do business. But there's some part of it that entailed what we call site visits. And I'd like to bring in Paul here. And Paul, you want to tell us a bit about some of the lessons that you gained in particular from the site visits. And what are these site visits, by the way?
So firstly, to cover the site visits. So we had site visits in Boston, uh, New York City, and also Washington D.C. So the idea behind the site visits, we would go and have meetings with thought leaders and business leaders in various important institutions in the US and also in South Africa. The program uh, was running for 2 weeks, also here in South Africa in August. We also went and visited private institutions and key public sector institutions too, where we just got a perspective of the general economy and also the business climate there. So I think some of the key takeaways from it is from the South African side is just I was quite impressed with our public institutions and public infrastructure that we have. It made me very proud of the work they do, and it's very tough um, to see why the reason why you know, things maybe aren't performing as it should compared to other first world countries. You've got really amazing institutions here that is really doing some good work. In the US,
Mm.
it was interesting for me to see some of the private institutions and just the scale of what they think. Their budget that they just operate on is crazy large, and they can manage a lot more risk. They think on such a scale that is very interesting to see coming from South Africa. I think to solve world problems, what they're doing. They're very idealistic in a sense compared to South African institutions. That we try to be a bit more realistic. We try to manage our risks a lot more in depth. And yeah, and then we also were in the World Bank and the IMF, and just to see, you know, their relationship to South Africa, and also the key role they play across the world, and helping economies really through tough times and to develop regardless of any political ties or anything. They're very agnostic and they're just there to be try and be good to economies around the world. So yeah, that was very interesting takeaways for me.
Wow, you certainly visited some of the biggest institutions, World Bank, the IMF. That's quite a visit, and I definitely hope you did learn a lot from there in the site visits. And I think you strike just by looking at the budgets in South Africa and in America, you could see a striking difference on how companies operate. But I'm keen to, maybe to you, Boy Dumelo, I'm keen to understand, whilst we see a difference between in the private sector, I'm keen to understand if did you pick up any differences between the South African education as well as the America's education system.
Uh, yes, I did. It was quite interesting to see because in South Africa, what we do is mostly theory. It's more theoretical proofs, and I'm talking about economics. Most of our modules are theoretical, whereas when we went to America, the classes were more practical, like Ivana stated. It was more practical, and you're learning about what you're going to do in what you want to specialize in. So that was the biggest difference there. And to a South African, you do gain endurance from learning in South Africa. So when you go to America, it's a thing of it's easier for you to grasp concepts, but it doesn't necessarily help you in the workforce once you leave the university. So that was the biggest difference.
Mm, mm. Thanks. I mean, that's quite a huge difference. Thinking if I was trained to work from the university, it would be much easier to land a job. And I understand most of you have finished or are finishing your studies, so it shouldn't be that difficult for you to land employment. Again, register your interest. GTech is there, Treasure is there, and everything. And to Umbegezile, I'm not sure if her sound has improved or she's still there. Begazeli, to you, I understand there are two modules that you do over 6 weeks in New York. As you said, they qualify you to an advanced or to a master's program at Fordham University in the economics department or international political economy at Fordham. And you come here again. There's a program that happens within South Africa. That's a University of Pretoria. Just briefly about how does that interface works?
You mean the change between um, what we learned in Fordham, at Fordham and now, and the
I
second
wanted to
language.
understand. Yeah, I wanted to understand that you do have two or three modules you do in New York, and you come in South Africa. What do you do when you're here? And what do you, is
Oh,
there
oh,
site visits or courses that you take?
oh, okay. So basically, after we back from New York, after finishing, I think about 3/4 portion of the of proportion of the program in the United States, we come back to South Africa and do one more module which makes three modules. That is the emerging markets module, which is more orientated in the economics, and we get to go to different institutions, organizations, and companies in South Africa, which directly impacts the economy, or rather with the ZLEC. So basically we go apply what we have learned from class and see it into practice in those companies. For instance, we visited the JSE when we were dealing with stocks and stock markets. We went to the PIC also in when we were trying to understand the importance of asset management and assets within the economy. We also went to Noon, whereby we had to understand the role of the labor unions in the labor market. And we also went to the National Treasury. We also went, or rather, we had a visit to the SAR, the SA South African Reserve Bank, SARB, and we got to understand really IDC also how the economy works in reality after having studied in class. As Waitumela has said, that the United States education really is more directed in we it's not only theory but also you get to sense you get to get the feel of how the real world of work
Yeah,
works, and that is what we got to experience through the site
yeah.
visits also in South Africa.
Sure. I'm not sure if we have. Thank you so much, Mbegezel. I'm not sure if we do have any questions coming in the chat box or Q and A. If we do, you can drop there in the Q and A. I see there's no question coming in. And in just to your last final words, Mbegezeli, if you made 20 seconds, what would you say to students joining us online about the program?
All right, I'd like to say just should you get an opportunity, which I believe that you are more than capable of getting the opportunity to go abroad, please take it with both hands. And I tell you now, it's not an easy decision to make because, as mentioned before, that of course I had to do South African things while I was in New York, but I believe it is worth the risk. Just take it, and you will not regret it. I think the benefit outweighs the cost, if there is any cost. Yes, thank you.
The benefits outweighs the cost, and I mean it's all expenses paid. Come on, who wouldn't
Of
want to go to
course,
New
why
York? And
not go
uh,
there?
exactly, and I understand you met the mayor of New York, Eric. At some point, you were given VIP access to see the July 4th fireworks in the Brooklyn Bridge. You had it all, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. And those were things we've never seen and experienced before. And best believe you really wanna see that for yourself.
Most definitely want to see that for yourselves. Look, it's one experience of a lifetime. I can tell you that for free. And they did experience. Let me turn to Boitumelo. I'm not sure if his voice is back. I wouldn't put him on spot, but if he feels like, you know what, I've drank my what do they call it? The sachet, Matt Lemon, and they feel strong to hit the note. The stage is yours, sir. But other than that, I just wanted to get from you what is the biggest thing that you have taken from the program?
The biggest thing I've taken is to work hard, and that the world is my oyster. For the longest time, you grow up thinking that you're limited to a certain city, a certain province, and this program kind of opens your eyes that you're not limited to anything, and if you put your mind to it, you can achieve that. And I think I can hit a note. I'm not, but
Don't feel
yeah,
pressured. Don't feel pressured.
I
All right.
can.
You wanna hit the note, or you're fine? Don't feel
Right now,
pressured at all.
no, I can do it. I
If you
can do it.
can, go ahead.
Okay. Look me in my eyes. Don't that feel nice, baby? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Nice and sweet. Thank you so much for it, Mel. But by the way, name drop. Which artist did you meet? And if you can just give us two names, three that you met, you're starting to do some work with them.
I
Don't
met
be
some
shy.
of big names, such as you mentioned, the founder of The Lion King, and I met the cast as well. And in terms of artists, I met a very popular artist in DC in America. His name is Ade, and I've been speaking to him. And the next day, one of Drake's producers spoke to me and reached out, and he was interested in working with me. So that was a life-changing
Hmm.
experience.
Wow, wow, well done on that, Voitumela. We wish you all the best as you pursue this musical journey in your life. By the way, you have a song on Spotify and you're dropping soon, right? Are you dropping a song on Spotify? When are you dropping? I understand you have a single that you've worked on.
Yes, I have a single dropping on the 16th of September. It's titled Better. It will be on all streaming platforms, and I currently do have a song out on every platform: Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you want to search. It's titled I'll Be There, and my stage name is Tyree Tour. And yes, I would appreciate the streams. Thank you for the opportunity.
Great stuff. So beautiful to see brains and talent coming together. Most times you find artists that are not so caring about education, but you are you're doing your honors and they're ready to pursue your masters. They're well done on that. And coming to you, I think, Paul, in 20 seconds, your parting shot, maybe a word or two to our audience.
I thank everybody. It's time to come listen to us, for us to hopefully got something from our insights and that we shared. And I think, yeah, definitely, if you see opportunities, take it with both hands. I think there's a lot we can learn if we collaborate more overseas and also within South Africa. Yeah, just go for it.
Go for it, says Paul. And to you, Ivana, any parting shot, very briefly, and the words to our audience?
Yes, most definitely. I think what they have said, you should take it with both hands. The program was so well balanced. We saw so many different aspects, different cultures. We were able to balance the academic and see so many things you see in movies. I mean, it changed my perspective. It changed me like as a person. So I think definitely the program is beneficial to all South Africans as it broadens your horizons and your thoughts. So I would definitely encourage a lot of people to apply for this program. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ivana. And to you, Sihle, any parting shot, very quickly?
Given the opportunity to get out of your comfort zone, and advise anyone to take it. I believed by just going to New York, I have enhanced my personal growth and my learning experience. So I wouldn't want anyone to miss out on that opportunity. Just get out of your
Thank
comfort
you so much.
zone and you'll soar very high.
Oh, that's excellent. Thank you so much, Spesihle. Thank you, Ivana. Thank you, Paul, Buitumelo, and Begezeli. By the way, this program would never be any way possible if it wasn't for the selfless dedication of people like Professor Temeli Boy, who's the economics professor at Fordham, as well as Professor Henry Schwabenberg, who's the head of the iPad school in the University of Fordham, or Fordham University. They go extra mile to make sure that South Africans get catered for and they learn through these programs. So we say to you, we salute you, and we appreciate the great work that you're doing for our country. And listening to the quest or the request from Archbishop, the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu, to make sure that you do empower students and young professionals in South Africa. Thank you so much to our participants there, the Emerging Markets cohort of 2022. All right, this is where we will end it for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please, complete a poll. There's a poll there. POLL, not Paul Rates, as PAUL. There's a poll that is on screen. By following us on all platforms by searching GTech South Africa. That's GTech South Africa, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere we are available. And this podcast is available and shared on the GTech Facebook page. If you really want to access it, like the page and download the podcast there. Thank you to all our speakers that were here today, and the sharing insight from Dr. Jose Ramohopa, going to all the design system thinking that everyone participated in. Talking about participating, I really appreciate how today's session was interactive and everyone was in tune and understanding. And I'd like to see in the chat room if really you did get a good sense of today's session. Please drop some thoughts, in the chat room. Let's see if you really enjoyed the session and if you were fully with us and you're looking forward to tomorrow's session. We can't wait to welcome you again tomorrow as we close the session that we're going to have tomorrow. And thank you again to you for being here. I can't stop to emphasize your patience and attentiveness for being here with the short breaks that we had, but you still kept intact. So let's look at what we have in store for tomorrow. Tomorrow it's one session that you don't want to miss, right? Tomorrow's session is the ultimate of the ultimates. So we're gonna start the same time, 8:45, and I'll try to get a challenge to get some of my colleagues to join me on stage as we do the Wire Wire challenge. How about that? If you like that, show me some love. I want to see the reaction emojis. If you want to see all the GTech staff coming on stage doing Wire Wire exactly as Dr. Hosi Ramohopa did. The challenge is on. Everyone wants you in. So we saw Dr. Ramohopa. So we're gonna try and open that in the morning. If you wanna get that, be here early as possible. We'll then move on to have our keynote from the DG of KwaZulu Natal Cocta, Barbara Mgu, I think it's Guchini, that's going to join us and give a talk there, moving on to service delivery later on. So tomorrow's focus is really about how local government service delivery in district and local municipalities is undercarried. And we could go along, and somewhere in the program we have a special surprise for you, a guest from the National Treasury that will express appreciations and gratitudes to you, and we'll have again the head of GTEC coming back on stage to us to really appreciate your presence here before we close a little bit early, around 2 or a little bit after 2. That's when we're going to end tomorrow's session. So come fresh, relaxed, and make sure that you're here. Just going to be a short day and we'll be out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's what we have for you today, and we're gonna close it here. If there are any comments, let me just see if they have comments. If we don't have comments, just above the survey, above the comments, there is a survey button there. If you can look at it, just click it. Spare no time, complete it now. So it helps that we plan for tomorrow effectively, and also for the future events that you're gonna have. Complete the survey now. It's gonna take you a very short. It's gonna take a very short time from your time that you already have left for the day. Thank you again to all of you. Thank you to our technical team for producing such a great show, and everyone that is involved. Once again, see you tomorrow. From my side, it has been a privilege and a pleasing pleasure being with you today. See you again tomorrow.